Hello and welcome to another edition of WATCHPRO Originals, where today we're going to be interviewing the co-CEO of Meistersinger, John Van Steen. Meistersinger, a German watch brand that is famous for making watches with a single hand, just the hour time, so you can spend less time obsessing over the minutes and a little more time relaxing over the hours, I think is the philosophy. It's one of those mid-tier brands that is always looking for new retailers and to work with the best retail partners, and will have been facing strong headwinds, obviously, during the current coronavirus lockdown. So we look forward to hearing what Mr. Van Steen has to say about the company. Let's hear from him in a moment. Hi, John.
Hi, good morning, Rob. How are you?
Very good. How are you doing? It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you. This is a whole new experience, huh?
Well, it used to be new, but I've done about 10 over the last week. So I think it's a
I saw it in your newsletters.
Okay, good.
I think it's a wonderful tool to also when you look now at the Watches and Wonders with all the introductions.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful tool to not only introduce novelties, but also to in the current circumstances, also to give, for example, trainings.
Yeah, absolutely.
For tomorrow, I've scheduled a training for Siddiqui in Dubai.
Okay. All right.
So I think around 40 or 50 people will join that training, which is an excellent opportunity to introduce novelties and to explain more about the brand. So I told my sales guys already, okay, guys, make use of this tool also for the retail.
Mm. Well, I was speaking to Mohammed Siddiqui just yesterday. In fact, there's a video in today's news alert. You'll see an interview with Mohammed Siddiqui.
Ah, okay, nice.
So,
they restart yesterday or they restart this week?
Yeah, they reopened Mall of the Emirates on Friday and Dubai Mall yesterday, I think. So
right, yeah.
A lot of restrictions, but they are actually open now. I think they're allowed something like 30% traffic or workforce or that sort of thing.
Right.
But it's good to see people opening up, and you always struck me as a natural-born optimist, so it doesn't surprise me that you found the positives in this already.
You know, of course, the situation is terrible for a lot of us, but I always that was a statement, also not a statement, but more a slogan which we had at the distribution meeting in Ogenta in Munich with all our main distributors from Europe and the US. And the slogan of the meeting was, in every difficulty lies the opportunity.
Hmm.
That is something which Albert Einstein said.
Oh, really? Okay.
And when you look at that, and when you think about it, that's always true, because how worse a situation is, there is always an opportunity.
Yeah.
So you have always to find something and to make the best out of it.
Hmm. So for those that aren't entirely familiar with Meistersinger, give us a quick elevator pitch on the brand. And I think in particular you're based in Germany. I wouldn't mind hearing a little bit more about how Germany as a country is opening up now, and what lessons there are learned to be there.
Yeah, of course, we are a German brand. Meistersinger is well known for his single-hand watches. So we point out the time in a more relaxed way. A more original way, because everything started with a single hand. Looking at our production is in Switzerland. So we are German design, but Swiss made. When you look the situation in Germany, I'm not a German guy, I'm a Dutch guy. So in the Netherlands, shops remained open during the whole crisis. Of course, some retailers in our line of business have voluntarily closed their shops, but others remained open for a small period. In Germany, it was a lockdown for all businesses besides supermarkets, grocery stores, and pharmacy, of course. And they opened up last Monday. So 1 week ago, when we talked to our retailers, the opening was quite positive. So a lot of customers came in, of course, a lot of service work.
Mm-hmm.
Also not only batteries for watches, but also for mechanical watches and jewelry. But astonishingly, also quite a number of good sales.
Okay, well, I mean, I'm as optimistic as you are, and I suppose that over a 2-month lockdown, there will have been a lot of, anniversaries and birthdays and reasons to celebrate. So they've kind of stored up a little bit.
Right, but not only, of course, not only afterwards, but also during the lockdown, there was still demand for luxury. Because, as you say, anniversaries, birthdays, etc., they were still happening. So those retailers who were opened and opened for by a web shop or by personal visits. But I also heard from a Dutch retailer, it's called Rijersen. He said, I visit now my customers on a one-to-one base. And I know what they want, I know what they like, and what the preference is. And I make an assortment, and I will visit my customers personally at their home. If customers are open for it, why not? And he made quite a good business with that during that time.
Well, I guess that was an option for retailers in the Netherlands, and that's now an option for Germany, and we hope in a couple of weeks in the UK and USA as well. But
of course, Belgium, France is opening up, Spain is opening up, Italy is a little bit opening up. It's of course it has to be gradually. Yeah. You cannot open a market completely with everything, because I think that also in the UK. There are now warnings. Be careful. People, listen to the governments and hold yourself to the 1.5 meter rule or 2 meters, whatever, in order to prevent that we are getting a second wave.
Yeah.
Your prime minister yesterday said, Boris Johnson said, we must be careful that there won't happen a second wave. And so, of course, we now have the first situation, but now we have to be a little bit calm down, take control, and do it gradually so that we cannot have to hit back later on.
So what does the timeline look for you, say from early in the year, January, February, when it was really a crisis in Asia, and it kind of swept across the world? How did you see business develop for Meistersinger worldwide over that timeline?
Yeah, so for Meistersinger, we are a brand which is for a large part focused on Europe. We are not strong in China. So our main markets are Europe, the US, and India. India, we have a very good partner in Ethos watches, and development is there very good. So we had the luck that in the beginning of the year, we had Inogenta in February. And there we introduced all the novelties. So we were able, and we already had them on stock. So we were able to dispatch them to our retailers already early March. So that meaning, and also in the press, all our novelties were known. Of course, then in March there came the hit back because the virus came from China to Europe and the rest of the world. And but business before that was quite positive because we were making a good plus till then. Of course, we are now behind, like almost all companies and all brands. But we were quite positive at that moment.
Okay, and did you see? I mean, I don't know whether you're describing sales into retailers or sales out to consumers, but what sort of hit have you taken?
Sorry?
What sort of hit have you taken in terms of sales, whether that's sales into retail or sales through to consumers?
Of course, it was when we talked about novelties, it was sales to retailers. It was not sales to consumers, because we were only able to dispatch all our novelties early March, and of course the crisis came actually in the middle of March. Yeah. But what we see is that we did some online actions, for example, on our own website, And together, our own website, as you know, is also in participation with our retailers. And we did there that during the crisis, that the consumer gets a 10% discount. Plus, for every watch we are selling, we give 100 euros to the Red Cross. And we saw that action is taken quite positive by the consumer. They are asking about it, and and we extend it now. And now that the Austrian and the German retailers are reopening again, we extend that also to our stationary retail.
Well, that's a great initiative, and I think it shows the culture and values of Meistersinger, that you're very much that type of company. Having visited you there.
Right. Yeah. So we are always eager to cooperate with our retailers, but sometimes you also have to take to push consumer or to stimulate consumers. And to give them a little advantage, certainly when you look at nowadays time, because we all know that the buying mood of that consumer is actually not that big at the moment. So you have to encourage them and to stimulate them to buy.
So there's absolutely no doubt that all brands, all retailers are going to take a beating in the second quarter, but where do you think you might end up this calendar year, say? Do you think that we might recover some of the lost ground this year, or do you think it's really about 2021 now?
I think when we are realistic, we all know that we are getting into a recession. I think that's we cannot avoid that. So in times of recession, the market is under pressure. The last big recession we had in 2008, Meistersinger didn't have any influence about that, or any negative influence of that crisis. But that was because we were a young company. We still are, because we are celebrating next year 20 years anniversary. However, we are now a little bit more mature, so we will have the negative benefits of that recession. So we estimate that in 2020, our turnover will at perhaps 70% of the turnover of last year.
Okay, I mean 70% is kind of manageable. You can
absolutely, yeah.
Tighten your belt and get through that without serious business disruption. So that's actually, I would say, quite encouraging. What are you doing? As we move, the world is now gone from moving into lockdown to the world is moving out of lockdown. At what points do you start to accelerate your sort of sales and marketing efforts and try and prime the pump for recovery?
So first of all, what we do is at this moment we are not visiting our retailers. What we will do is in the month of May, we as a company we use that time to give trainings to our retailers. So we contact them and we say, listen, we will visit you, or we want to visit you, but not for sale, not for selling you things, but we want to train your staff. I did it myself last Friday in Euding-Elder, which is a high-end retailer in our hometown Münster. Just in order to give them that little push in the back, to be a little bit more encouraged to sell the Meistersinger pieces. And I think for a brand, it's now time to be a little bit to step back. So not to be really aggressive in terms of sales, because retailers are now finding their way in the new situation. So you have to give them that space. You have to support them in the sense of training. And I think from summer, autumn on, it's time for a little bit, hopefully a little bit more celebration again.
Yeah.
Because I think consumers will still be open for novelties, for interesting things.
Hmm. Now, I mean, we don't know much about 2021 in terms of what the exhibition program is going to be like. I mean, this year has been a complete chaos due to one thing and another, whether that's coronavirus or self-inflicted injuries or however you want to categorize it. Now, but we really don't know very much about 2021 if you think about it. Geneva currently has the SIH or the old SIHH brands, about 30 brands, the Rolex, Patek, Chanel, and Chopard Consortium is another 5 brands. So basically 35 brands are going to be next year in Geneva, but we don't know what's happening in Basel, and we don't know what else might be happening in Geneva. I mean, have you heard anything, or are you getting any insight?
No, not yet. Of course, we as a brand, we also contacted the organization of Watches and Wonders after that the big groups and the big brands left Basel, just to be prepared and to have a little bit more information. What they told us is we have, due to the current new situation, we will make an evaluation and then get back to you as soon as possible. So we wait for that. But of course, as a small German brand, we don't have high expectation regarding the conditions of Watches and Wonders.
And I guess, as you mentioned earlier, Inogenta was good for you.
Inogenta was absolutely good. When Inogenta is taking place, you never know in the current circumstances, we will be there. And then we will wait and see what other opportunities there will be. And we are pretty sure there will be other opportunities.
Great. Okay, well, we'll finish and let you talk about a couple of your 2020 novelties, if you like. I mean, what are the star pieces that people should be looking out for once they can get out and about, or perhaps shopping online?
We had, of course, some very interesting novelties. The main novelty we had was the model called Astroscope. Astroscope is a day watch where the day function is in a very extraordinary way displayed on the watch, and the following order of that of the days of the week is according to the planets in the sky. So when you look at the origin of the weekdays, it comes from the Babylonian area. And at that time, the Babylonians said, okay, a week has 7 days. And 2 days are named after the sun and the moon. And the other days are named after the planets who were known at that time. So that's Saturn, Mercury, Venus, etc. And we displayed the weekdays according to that, because every weekday is related to a planet. So I'm pretty sure you will have a picture behind it in the production of this video. Really an astonishing piece. When you look at the piece, you think, wow, that's a complicated watch, which isn't the case. And a retail price is just below 2,000 euros, which is very attractive.
Sounds
and further, we did a limited edition with the edition 366. That's because this year is the year has 366 days. So it was with the Unitas movement, also in the 2,000 price range. And for the rest, we were quite low in terms of novelties, because what we want as Meistersinger is getting back more and more into our core collection.
Okay, so focusing on the bestsellers this year.
Focusing on the bestsellers, right? So what we did is we did, for example, with the Pedograph, we have now a model where the case is brushed instead of polished,
right?
In order to create a little bit more diversity in the range.
Right. Okay, wonderful. Well, it's great to see you looking so well, John, and lovely to hear from you. And I very much look forward to getting over to Munster again, seeing you there, or who knows.
Or I go to London. Or I go to London.
Exactly.
I think it will be wonderful again if we human beings could travel again.
Yeah,
but not in the extension we did before. Because I think what the Corona time has learned us is that there are also alternative ways to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
But of course, time to time, we also need to see each other in real life.
Yeah.
I think that's the one. That was also the wonderful part, or always the wonderful part at fairs, that you see each other, you shake hands, and you have the personal communication. But I think it will be good if we find a middle way in that one.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to be using Zoom quite a lot after this.
Absolutely,
After this has happened.
absolutely.
I think it's very effective. I think you get a concise conversation. You get through it in a good way. I think the 40-minute limit on Zoom is probably a limit that should be introduced in real life for some meetings. I'm honest, but
it could be interesting. Of course, you can when you pay a little bit extra. You have an unlimited Zoom.
True.
But you're right. Within that 40 minutes, you can really complete 99% of your conversations.
Exactly.
And then get back to the other work again.
Exactly. But we can't share a glass of wine or beer over Zoom, so
we will do it next time, Rob.
All
no
right.
problem.
Thanks, John.
All right.
See you soon.
So take care, stay healthy,
You too.
and be positive.
Same to you and your team and your family. Thanks, John.
All right, thank you. All right, bye-bye.